Ilia Topuria. Now you look at Topuria and you think, heavy hands, great grappler. What I like watching with him is his foot placement. Okay. The way he distributes his balance through his feet is unbelievable. So it's just a little nuance that he does is, when he comes from this, doing these boxer style punches, because his centre of gravity is low, he can easily shoot him for the legs as well. And because he is that little bit shorter as well, especially at lightweight with the taller guys, this wide stance, twisty boxing style, it works really well to go up and down with the takedowns. Let's see what he does.
Tom Aspinall has just shared his insights on the upcoming fight between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira. On the other hand, Justin Gaethje said he is focused on facing the winner of Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira, who fight on June 28th, and confirmed he will be there to watch. He dismissed talk of Topuria moving to welterweight if Islam Makhachev wins, saying he cannot control that and finds the idea a bit silly. When asked about possibly retiring if he does not get a title shot, Gaethje admitted it depends on the day, as the sport is emotional and he tries not to say too much in those moments. Still, he made it clear that if he fights again, it must be a meaningful bout, and for him, that likely means a title fight.
Awesome. In terms of your own career, where are we at right now? Because the last time we heard from you...
I'm waiting for the winner of Ilia and Charles. They fight next week, June 28th. I'll be there. That's who I want to fight.
And I've been interviewing you for about 10 years now. I think I kind of know your answer, but Ilia is saying if Islam wins, he's going to push to go up to welterweight after that. So
I can't control any of that, so I don't spend no energy on it. But sounds stupid to me. We'll see.
Your manager Ali also said earlier, and I want to get your words because we've only heard from Ali, that if you don't get the title shot, you're willing to just hang it up and walk away for good.
We'll see how it goes. Catch me on a certain day, I'll tell you a certain thing. It's a very emotional sport, but I try not to speak too out of pocket when I'm emotional, which is right now. So I'm going to fight again in the future. Has to be the champion.
Belal Muhammad gave his thoughts on the Charles Oliveira versus Ilia Topuria matchup by breaking down the key paths to victory for both fighters. He pointed out that Oliveira's best chance is to make the fight gritty and physical, using clinches and grappling early to test Topuria's strength and gas tank at lightweight. Belal emphasized that Oliveira should avoid clean striking exchanges, where he's been vulnerable before, and instead drag the fight into his world with pressure and control on the ground.
Is Topuria ready for 155? Is his power going to translate? Keys to victory for Charles Oliveira. You got to make it dirty. You got to get close on him. I think you have to initiate the clinch, initiate grappling exchanges, especially early. Don't try to sit there and box with him. Don't strike with him. I know you have a high guard, but you get caught a lot with looping punches on the outside. You don't want to get caught with a looping punch by Topuria. I would say go high body lock. Let's test his strength. Let's see if he's strong enough for 155. Even if you have to pull guard, we haven't really seen Topuria's ground game that well, right? They say he has great grappling, but that's your world. You can wear on him, pull on him. Let's see if he added a little bit too much muscle. That's gonna mess up his cardio, and it's just gonna mess up his rhythm.
When analyzing Topuria, Belal highlighted his crisp boxing, strong footwork, and ability to control distance and tempo. He advised that Topuria should focus on targeting Oliveira's body and legs to open up the head for power shots. If Topuria knocks Oliveira down, Belal said he should not hesitate to finish the fight, unlike previous opponents who were cautious of Charles's ground game. While recognizing Oliveira's danger, Belal ultimately leaned toward Topuria, winning by capitalizing on his striking edge and ability to set traps effectively.
Topuria is a rhythm fighter, beautiful boxing, beautiful footwork. When you're initiating these grappling exchanges, when you're making him think about the takedown, he's not gonna be able to set up his power punch. Topuria, exact opposite. Oliveira keeps his chin a little bit too high. I know he has the high guard. Set up your looping punches by going straight to the body, by going low kick. Chop him down a little bit, he stands straight upright. If you do knock him down with a punch, go for the kill. We've seen guys like Michael Chandler and we've seen guys like Justin Gaethje drop him and didn't want to really initiate the grappling exchanges with him. We've seen you go against guys like Ryan Hall. We've seen you against Bryce Mitchell on the ground. You got great ground game, great ground defense. So if you do drop Charles, don't let him off the hook, because when Charles gets back up, he always finds a way. When you're breaking up the clinches, keep your hands back up, proper defense. Don't ever overextend on your punches, because Charles will catch you, and if he does catch you, he does have great power. So be very smart and disciplined with your defense, submission-wise and striking-wise. My pick is gonna be Topuria. I think he's so good with his hands. He's so good at setting up punches, setting up traps. that he's gonna eventually catch Charles.
Dan Hardy gave a detailed look into how the fight between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira might unfold, painting a vivid picture of potential momentum shifts. He explored the idea that Topuria could drop Oliveira early with clean power shots, but hesitate to follow him to the ground out of respect for Oliveira's jiu-jitsu. Hardy suggested this might happen multiple times, with Oliveira sitting back and inviting Topuria into his guard, creating a psychological test for the younger fighter.
I can certainly see a point where Topuria gets where he gets sick of dropping Charles Oliveira but not being able to put him away entirely. Like, I mean, think about this as a scenario, right? So the first round starts, Topuria comes out and he cracks Oliveira with one big shot and drops him. Oliveira sits to his butt and then kind of welcomes him to the floor, and Topuria's like, no, I'm not playing this game, back to your feet. And then he could drop him once, twice more, but not feel confident to rush in and try and TKO finish. Like, it might be the second, third, fourth time that he drops him. He's like, right, I'm going to have to just go and finish the job and get the referee to stop it, because this is not going to be a walk-off knockout. He's too tough. And then he rushes in, he starts landing some big shots. And in the scramble, you can see Oliveira arm dragging him or invert him for an ankle lock, you know, entangling him with some kind of calf slicer that then allows him to climb to his back.
As the fight progresses, Hardy imagined a point where frustration sets in for Topuria after repeatedly dropping Oliveira without securing a finish. That frustration, he hinted, could push Topuria to finally follow him to the ground in search of a stoppage, which is exactly where Oliveira becomes most dangerous. Hardy outlined a scenario where Oliveira uses that moment to bait Topuria into a scramble, potentially locking in a slick submission. His preview leaned toward a tactical battle shaped by patience, timing, and a single critical decision.
I mean, I could give you a few different scenarios like that, but it would be that kind of circumstance, I think, where Topuria's dropped him and then, you know, chases it up on the ground, and I think that would come out of frustration of not being able to get the finish on the feet.
However, Tom Aspinall spoke highly of Charles Oliveira's fearless approach inside the cage, noting how Oliveira never backs down from exchanging heavy shots, even against aggressive power strikers. He mentioned past battles with names like Michael Chandler and Justin Gaethje as proof of Oliveira's toughness, and said Topuria brings a similar kind of pressure. Aspinall explained that Charles often lures opponents into chaotic stand-up moments before using that chaos to set up dangerous submissions, including unpredictable attacks like flying triangles.
I think something that I like about Charles, let's have a little look at him, is he isn't afraid to exchange with the punches, with anybody. We've seen him get punched off guys like Chandler. We've seen him get guys off guys like Gaethje and all the rest of the short, stocky, powerful punchers. So Topuria, his style isn't dissimilar to other guys he's fought before. But what he likes to get involved, get him dragged into a bit of a punching match, and then he'll tie him up. And then he'll go for flying triangles. He's not scared to be on his back either. He doesn't mind getting taken down where he's on his back, and he'll be throwing up. He'll be doing all this kind of stuff. He'll be throwing up triangles. He'll be going sweeps, lifting him up. He'll be doing all different kind of attacks off his back as well, and that is something that is difficult to prepare for.
He also gave strong praise to Ilia Topuria, referring to him as one of the sport's brightest new forces. Aspinall pointed to Topuria's explosive striking, well-rounded grappling, and fluid transitions between all phases of the fight as what sets him apart. He added that Topuria's cultural background, combining Georgian grit with Spanish flair, adds something unique to MMA's evolving landscape. In Aspinall's view, Ilia is not just a prospect, he is on track to become one of the sport's future champions.
But, wow, he's got devastating power, great grappler as well, links everything together so well, great for the sport, obviously Georgian / Spanish guy, so he's mixing up nationalities, and just the future, for me, he's the future of MMA.
Definitely.
He's the next step, if you like.
Evolving of the
he
sport.
is.
Moreover, Kai Kara France, who will be fighting on the co-main event, recently spoke with admiration about Charles Oliveira, calling him one of the most inspiring figures in MMA. He reflected on Oliveira's journey from early struggles to becoming a world champion and fan favorite. Kai shared how meeting Charles in person during UFC Fight Weeks left a strong impression, describing him as genuine and easy to connect with. His respect clearly goes beyond fighting skills, focusing on Oliveira's energy and humility outside the cage.
I love Charles, he's the man. I've met him a few times, and he's just like the people, his story and like his journey that he's had in the UFC. It's just like, that's what I love about the sport. You can't count anyone out. And even, you know, his rough start in the UFC or where he was at, and then to go on this massive win streak, win the belt, defend it, like, how can you not love him? And like, just meeting him in person, he's just such a relatable person. Like, he's just a fan favorite. Like, I've done a few guest fighters with him, a guest appearance with him on Fight Week, and yeah, just really liked him. Well, like, gravitated towards him, just not just a fighter, but just as a normal guy. Yeah, loved his energy.
Kai Kara France praised Ilia Topuria as one of the best fighters in the UFC right now, highlighting his exceptional skill and precision in choosing his shots. He pointed out how rare it is to see someone finish top fighters like Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski, calling Ilia a once-in-a-lifetime athlete. Kai also emphasized the unique challenge this fight presents, noting that Charles Oliveira is extremely dangerous on the ground and isn't afraid to get taken down if it means securing a dominant position.
You know, Ilia is one of the best guys in the UFC right now. His skill set is he's so good at what he does, and like what we talked about, being really selective of his shots and really precise. He's one of the best to do it. Like, to take out Max, to finish Max, like, no one does that. You know, to finish Volk, one of my teammates, like, this is like one in a lifetime kind of athlete. So yeah, it's a unique matchup because on the ground, Oliveira is so dangerous. And he doesn't mind getting taken down or giving up.
Lastly, Kai pointed out that Ilia's striking, especially his hands, often doesn't get the credit it deserves because he's truly dangerous on his feet with impressive Muay Thai skills and a history of finishing fights standing up. He admitted that while Ilia might walk through Charles Oliveira, there's always a chance he could get caught if he becomes overconfident, potentially ending up on the ground where Oliveira excels. Kai expressed excitement about the matchup, calling it a compelling main event that's sure to draw a lot of attention.
They're not as respected as they should be because he is dangerous on his feet. Like, he's got great Muay Thai and he's finished fights standing. So he just don't know what to expect. I don't know if Ilia thinks he's going to walk through Oliveira. He might, but you just never know. He might, you know.
Yep.
Get caught on the way in thinking overly confident, okay, I can take this guy out, and then end up on the ground, you know, half rocked, and, you know, Oliveira jumps on his neck and it's a wrap. So I'm intrigued about this matchup. It's a great main event. You know, people are going to be tuning in, but the best thing about it is they're going to more eyes.
Trainer Tim Welch highlighted how Charles Oliveira always sets a fast pace and gets right in his opponent's face, ready to trade punches. He predicted that in the upcoming fight between Ilia Topuria and Charles, someone is definitely going to get knocked down. Tim noted Ilia's aggressive low stance, constantly pushing forward, while Charles counters with his tall stance and powerful knees. With both fighters pressing hard, he admitted the outcome is unpredictable, but said he's really looking forward to the fight.
That's one thing Charles does. He brings the pace. He brings the pace and he gets in your face and he tries to trade with you. Someone's getting dropped in the Ilia Topuria Charles fight, and it's either going to be Ilia or it's going to be Charles, because they're going to slug. Ilia likes to push people back with that low stance. Charles likes to push people back with that tall stance, always bringing knees up the middle. What's going to happen? I have no clue, but I'm excited for it.
Paddy Pimblett shared his view that Ilia Topuria stands a solid chance against Charles Oliveira at UFC 317. While acknowledging Oliveira's toughness, Pimblett questioned how much damage Oliveira's chin can still take, given his extensive fight history and the punishment he's endured. He praised Oliveira's dangerous skills on the ground, but pointed out that Charles occasionally takes unnecessary risks during fights. Pimblett also emphasized the significant jump from featherweight to lightweight, something often overlooked by casual fans. Since Oliveira has a similar build to Pimblett, he believes the size and strength difference could become very obvious, especially in striking exchanges.
Ilia beats Charles then?
I think he might, to be honest. Charles is a bit chinny, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's had about 40 fights or something. He always gets punched. He always gets cracked.
Yeah.
So,
he's reckless, but he's super exciting.
Yeah, he is.
And he's dangerous.
Exciting. If he gets him down, I can see him winning, because that £10 difference is a big difference.
Yeah.
145 to 155, it's a big difference. People don't understand that because they don't watch the sport or they're not involved in the sport. But that £10 makes a big difference. especially like Charles is like my height, Ilia's like down here when I stand up, know what I mean? So it's gonna make a big difference. Like,
Pimblett further noted that Topuria might not fully appreciate how physically imposing Oliveira appears in person. He explained that fighters moving up from smaller divisions often underestimate the strength and presence of bigger opponents until they meet them face to face. Pimblett referenced fighters like Bobby Green and Michael Chandler, who surprised many with their actual physicality in the cage. This could be a crucial factor for Topuria as he prepares to face Oliveira inside the octagon.
Ilia might get a bit of a fright at how big Charles is when he stands opposite him. Fighters do that with me, who fight at lightweight. Know what I mean? I'll never forget Bobby Green looking over at me and being like, what, he's big him. Same with Chandler. Like people thought Chandler was going to be bigger than me, and he just weren't.
Dustin Poirier believes Ilia Topuria will come out on top against Charles Oliveira, even though Ilia might be the smaller fighter. He admitted that Oliveira has the skill to submit Ilia if he manages to hurt him, but noted that Oliveira tends to take a lot of damage, which could be his downfall. Poirier emphasized Ilia's strong finishing ability and expressed his excitement for this upcoming fight.
Who do you think's going to win the Ilia versus Charles fight?
I think Ilia, man. I think he's going to be way undersized against Charles. I just don't, unless Charles can sub him, maybe if he hurts him, but it's going to be tough, I think. Because Charles gets hit a lot, you know, and Ilia puts people away. I'm excited about it.
Michael Chandler shared his enthusiasm for the upcoming fight between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira, saying he plans to watch the bout live. He praised Oliveira's toughness and versatile skill set, making him a tough fighter to bet against due to his experience and ability to win in many ways. At the same time, Chandler highlighted Topuria's explosive power and precise striking, labeling him as a dangerous opponent who can finish fights abruptly. He called the matchup unpredictable, which only adds to the excitement for fans.
So I'll be cage side for that fight to watch it, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, who do you think is going to win?
Man, it's tough. You don't bet against freaking Charles Oliveira because
Right.
he's so dang good everywhere, and he's a really hard guy to beat. With that being said, Ilia Topuria's got some crazy power in his hands and crazy accurate strikes. So it'll be very interesting to see how that fight goes.
Arman Tsarukyan acknowledged Oliveira's strong submission game, especially his ability to apply chokes from various positions. However, he noted Oliveira's freestyle wrestling isn't as dominant, which could hinder his chances of taking down someone like Topuria. Tsarukyan pointed out that while Oliveira is dangerous on the ground, Topuria is likely to control the fight's pace and keep it standing. With Topuria's sharp boxing and solid takedown defense, Tsarukyan believes he has a significant advantage in this matchup.
Конечно, Оливейра очень опасный, с любой позиции может душить. Но просто перевести у Оливейра не такая вольная борьба. Допустим, моя работа, да, я люблю переводить. То есть я его перевожу, и он может контратаку какую-то сделать, там, душающий взять, как он взял меня там. То есть это возни не будет. Топурия просто будет работать, боксировать, не будет пытаться его переводить, так как у него намного лучше бокс, чем у Оливейра. А у Оливейра, мне кажется, недостаточно вольной борьбы, чтобы перевести Топурия.
Renato Moicano shared doubts about Ilia Topuria moving up to lightweight, mainly because of concerns over his size. While he praised Topuria's knockout power and sharp boxing, Moicano feels the featherweight champ might struggle against bigger opponents in the 155-pound division. He pointed out that although Topuria could finish many fighters with his striking, grapplers at lightweight could create problems by controlling the fight on the ground.
You're fighting on the Charles Oliveira versus Ilia Topuria card. Charles is a big underdog. How do you see that fight going?
Man, that's a tougher matchup that a lot of people think. They think Topuria gonna run through Charles. You never count Charles Oliveira out. I think he's very tough. But Topuria is good, you know. He's 145. It's going to be a tough fight for both fighters. I don't have an opinion on that. I was leaning more to Topuria, but today I just had a podcast with Charles on my Brazilian channel. It's just very hard to not like the guy. That makes harder, you know, to pick against him. So I'm going with Charles just because he's Brazilian.
Michael Bisping broke down the upcoming fight between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira, highlighting Oliveira's aggressive style, always pushing forward with heavy punches, knees, and elbows while hunting for submission chances. He noted that this will be Topuria's first fight at lightweight and praised his precise boxing, powerful striking, constant pressure, and solid Greco-Roman wrestling. Bisping admitted he wouldn't be surprised if Topuria ends up winning this matchup.
Ilia versus Charles Du Bronx Oliveira. We know
know Charles. He's a dangerous, aggressive son of a bitch. He's gonna walk forward, punch his knees, elbows, he'll lock on a submission. Ilia, this is his first fight at lightweight, and with the punching power of Ilia Topuria, the boxing that he has, the footwork that he has, and the Greco-Roman wrestling, it wouldn't surprise me if Ilia pulls it off.
Khamzat Chimaev spoke highly of Ilia Topuria's skill and dedication, remembering their early days training together at All Stars Gym. He pointed out that even before Topuria became widely known, he was already performing impressively in Brave FC. Chimaev praised Topuria's relentless work ethic and drive, saying it was clear from the start that Topuria was headed for great things. He believes Topuria has nearly achieved everything a fighter could aspire to in MMA.
Очень известный сейчас боец. Ты с ним вроде как давно знаком. Он тренировался в Альстаре вместе, вот до еще его всей известности. Когда вот тренировки ты его видел, ты видел этот потенциал в будущем?
Ну, конечно, просто тогда, в то время, этот был он хорошим топовым бойцом в Брейве, как я. Мы там выступали. Видно было, потому что он такой пахарь и хочет добиться чего-то в своей жизни. И парень добился всех высот, которые можно в этом спорте добиться.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comments section, and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also check out our other videos on the screen right now.